In the 1990s, football was obsessed with speed, technique, and small genius players. The big old-fashioned striker was a dinosaur, an endangered species. But sometimes evolution takes a surprising turn. One player, a man considered too slow and clumsy for the modern game, would not only survive, he would force the game to adapt to him. His own country didn't want him. He was sold to the lower leagues of Italian football, a forgotten man. But Oliver Bierhoff turned his perceived weakness into his ultimate weapon. This is the story of how a German reject became the king of Italian football and a national hero, all by perfecting an art the world thought was dead. To really get why Bierhoff's revival was such a big deal, you have to go back to the early 1990s. Football was in the middle of a tactical revolution. The philosophy that ruled the day, pioneered by legendary AC Milan manager, was all about high pressing, constant movement, and zonal marking. Universalism was the new gospel. Every player had to be technically gifted, mobile, and smart. In this new world, the traditional target man, that big, static forward, whose main job was to win headers and bully defenders, was seen as an anchor holding the team back. Teams started leaning into smaller, quicker attacking pairs. Think of Barcelona's dream team with the explosive Romario and the brilliant Hristo Stoichkov, or the sublime skill of Roberto Baggio, who was neither a pure striker nor a midfielder, but something magical in between. The game was getting faster, and the lumbering giants of the past were being left in the dust. Formations were shifting away from the classic 4-4-2 with its big man, little man combo. The new focus was on controlling the midfield and having strikers who could do more than just finish. A player who was simply good in the air was seen as one-dimensional. Football had decided it had evolved past the need for a human battering ram. The art of the target man wasn't just fading away, it was being erased from the tactical blackboard. And into this world stepped a young Oliver Bierhoff. Standing at an imposing 191 centimeters, he looked exactly like the kind of striker that was going extinct. And in his home country of Germany, a nation famous for its powerful forwards, Bierhoff was, ironically, not considered good enough. His early career in the Bundesliga was, to put it lightly, a flop. In his first 4 seasons, he managed a measly 10 goals in 73 Bundesliga games. The label stuck: clumsy, technically limited, and slow. His one great asset, his heading, was seen as a crude tool in an increasingly sophisticated game. German football was moving on, and Bierhoff was the guy being left behind. So, in 1990, he left for the Austrian Bundesliga, signing for Austria Salzburg. It was a clear step down, a move for a player who couldn't quite cut it at the top level. But away from the harsh spotlight, something started to click. Under Croatian manager, he meticulously developed the specialized skills that would later make him famous, particularly his aerial prowess and hold-up play. Freed from expectations to be a complete forward, Bierhoff embraced his natural strengths, dedicating countless hours to perfecting his heading technique while learning the tactical nuances of the target man role, shielding defenders, timing runs into the box, and creating space for teammates. The results were immediate and impressive, with Bierhoff scoring 23 goals across all competitions, more than doubling his entire Bundesliga tally. Still, people were skeptical. It was Austria, after all, not Germany or Italy. Then he moved to Italy, joining Ascoli, a club that was immediately relegated. For 4 years, while the football world was being reshaped by tactical gurus and nimble-footed geniuses, Oliver Bierhoff was grinding it out in Italy's second division. A forgotten man, a German reject, learning his trade in total obscurity. He was a nobody. But in the tactical furnace of Italian football, he was forging himself into a weapon. Italy in the 90s was the university of defensive football. Thanks to the legacy of Catenaccio, defenders were masters of the dark arts, and goals were rarer than gold. For a striker, it was the ultimate final exam. For Bierhoff, it became the perfect laboratory. After sharpening his skills in Serie B, his big break came in 1995 with a move to Udinese. And it was there he met the coach who would change everything, Alberto Zaccheroni. Zaccheroni was a tactical innovator. In Bierhoff, he didn't see a clumsy relic, he saw the perfect centerpiece for his wild 3-4-3 system. This formation was designed to be brutally direct. While other teams obsessed over possession, Zaccheroni just wanted to get the ball forward and fast. Bierhoff was the focal point for all of it. His job was so much more than just waiting for a cross. He mastered the art of hold-up play. With his back to goal, he'd use his incredible strength to shield the ball from legendary defenders, men who built careers on bullying strikers. But Bierhoff couldn't be bullied. He would absorb the pressure, hold up the play, and lay the ball off to his two lightning-fast strike partners, Marzio Amoroso and Paolo Poggi, who made darting runs into the space he'd just created. He was a tactical pivot that the entire attack revolved around. Italian tacticians began studying the Germans' movement. Unlike traditional target men who simply occupied centre-backs, Bierhoff displayed remarkable intelligence in his positioning, drifting between zones, creating space for midfield runners, and arriving in the box at precisely the right moment for crosses. And then there was his heading. It wasn't just about being tall. Bierhoff's aerial ability was a technical skill of the highest order. His timing was perfect, his leap was explosive, and the power he generated was terrifying. He turned his head into a surgical instrument. During the 1997 to 1998 season, he took this art to another level, scoring 15 goals from headers alone, a record that still stands today. That season was his masterpiece. In a league that had the phenomenal Ronaldo at Inter, the lethal Gabriel Batistuta at Fiorentina, and the genius Alessandro Del Piero at Juventus, it was Oliver Bierhoff who finished as the Capocannoniere, the league's top scorer, with a staggering 27 goals. He hadn't just survived in the world's toughest defensive league, he had dominated it. He'd taken a style everyone called obsolete and turned it into an unstoppable force. The German reject was now the king of Italy, and the world was finally taking notice. Even with his heroics in Italy, Bierhoff was still an outsider in his own country. When the German squad for Euro 1996 was announced, his name was a surprise. He was seen as a controversial wildcard, a plan B for a team hit hard by injuries. Legend has it that national team coach Berti Vogts was only convinced to take him after his wife insisted, telling him he'll repay you. It was a piece of advice that would change German football history. Somehow, Germany fought its way to the final at Wembley Stadium, where they met the tournament's biggest surprise, the Czech Republic. The final was a tense, gritty match. Germany was struggling to break down the tough Czech defence when, in the 59th minute, disaster struck. The Czech Republic won a penalty and Patrick Berger coolly scored it. Time was ticking away and Germany's dream was dying. With just 21 minutes left, a desperate Berti Vogts rolled the dice and sent on his wildcard. Almost immediately, Bierhoff made his presence known. Just 4 minutes after coming on, Germany won a free kick. The ball was floated into the box. And in a scene that had become his trademark in Italy, Bierhoff rose above everyone, a giant among men, and powered a header into the net. He had dragged his nation back from the brink. The game went to extra time, which meant a dramatic new rule came into play, the golden goal. The next goal would win the whole thing. 5 minutes in, Bierhoff got the ball with his back to goal. He twisted, turned, and hit a left-footed shot. It wasn't a clean strike, it took a deflection. The Czech goalkeeper fumbled it as it spun agonizingly into the net. It wasn't pretty, it wasn't spectacular, but it was gold. Game over. Germany were European champions. The first golden goal in the history of a major tournament was scored by a substitute, an outcast, the man who wasn't even supposed to be there. Oliver Bierhoff was no longer a wild card. He was a national hero. His heroics at Euro 96 and his coronation as league's top scorer completely transformed Bierhoff's career. He was no longer a curiosity, he was one of the most wanted strikers in the world. In 1998, he made the move that cemented his status. He signed for the giants of AC Milan, reuniting with his old coach, Alberto Zaccheroni. Milan was a club in transition, desperate to get back to the top of Italian football, having just finished 10th in the league. In hiring Zaccheroni, the club was gambling on his system. They were gambling on Oliver Bierhoff. He wasn't plan B anymore. He was the foundation of the whole project. The very club that had once defined the fluid, strikerless system was now building its entire attack around a traditional, physically dominant number 9. It was a massive shift. Zaccheroni initially brought his 3-4-3 with him, but eventually adapted it to a 3-4-1-2 to fit Milan's players. The core idea, however, was the same. Bierhoff was the target. Everything flowed through him. His partnership with the legendary George Weah was a fascinating clash of styles, Weah's dynamic power and grace playing off of Bierhoff's aerial dominance and smart positioning. In his very first season, 1998-99, Bierhoff was unstoppable. He scored 19 league goals, and so many of them were decisive. Milan, who nobody picked as favourites, went on an unbelievable run, winning their last 7 games to snatch the Scudetto from Lazio on the final day. Bierhoff had fired AC Milan to its 16th league title, carving his name into the club's history. Think about that, the best league in the world, filled with the greatest players on the planet. And yet Bierhoff, the supposedly one-dimensional target man, had outshone them all, first with a smaller club and now with one of the biggest. He proved that a target man could be more than just a battering ram. He could be the tactical linchpin of a championship-winning team. He wasn't just a player, he was an offensive system. Oliver Bierhoff's career was more than just a list of goals and trophies. It was a powerful counter-argument to the tactical trends of his time. He proved, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that the traditional number 9 wasn't dead. When used correctly, a physically dominant, aerially gifted striker could be the key to unlocking the modern game. He basically laid down a blueprint. He showed how pure strength could be a technical skill and how a simple header could be a brilliant tactical move. You can draw a direct line from Bierhoff's revival to the strikers who came after him. He himself has praised players like Olivier Giroud, another tall, powerful forward often criticised for not being mobile, yet who has been a crucial piece for every team he plays for. Bierhoff's success helped create a space for players whose greatest strengths weren't speed or dribbling, but presence and power. Of course, the role keeps evolving. A modern giant like Erling Haaland combines the physical traits of a classic target man with the explosive speed of a sprinter, creating a terrifying new hybrid. But the core value of having that physical focal point, a player who can dominate in the air and be a constant threat in the box, is a tactical truth that Bierhoff powerfully re-established. He made sure that for all the game's evolution towards complexity, the primal, beautiful art of the towering header would never be forgotten. From a Bundesliga reject, ridiculed for his style, to legend in Italy and an immortal German hero. Oliver Bierhoff's journey is a testament to resilience and the power of specialization. At a time when football was falling in love with small, technical players, he doubled down on his unique and unfashionable strengths. He didn't change for the game, he forced the game to change for him. He wasn't just a goalscorer. He was a tactical phenomenon who single-handedly revived the lost art of the target man. He proved that an intelligent football mind was more important than nimble feet, and that in a sport decided by inches, rising above everyone else can make all the difference. In an era of ever-increasing complexity, Oliver Bierhoff reminded the world that sometimes the most direct approach is the most revolutionary.